Hello, design and engineering technology students. Welcome back to another OnShape tutorial. This time we're actually looking at the Lesson 5 work, looking at the Geneva cam. And just like we did with the spinner, we're going to make a copy, and we're actually going to utilize the three-dimensional pattern tool instead of the 2D pattern tool. So if we were to open up the Geneva cam and take a look at the sketch, we'll notice a few things. One, the sketch dimensions are really difficult to see, and the sketch itself is sort of very messy or confusing. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And the only way to fully define this sketch is to, in fact, use the fix constraint. And as you know, I can't stand using the fix constraint because it is technically kind of cheating. I want students to really truly understand the geometry of their work and be able to apply the proper geometric constraints to their sketches while they're working. So I'm going to show you a quick method utilizing the 3D dimensional tool, and which will also allow us to really clean up our sketches and make them much easier to read, look at, understand, make very quick small adjustments to and update, and if you need to, re-laser or re-3D print, etc. Okay, so our first step is to take our Part Studio, and we're going to duplicate that. So right-click on the Part Studio tab, hit Duplicate. It's going to make a copy, and we're going to rename that copy Geneva Cam 3D pattern. And we're going to take these three features, the extrude 1, extrude 2, and the fillet, and we're actually going to delete those so that we're really only we're going to start over from this sketch. The first thing you will do is you're going to find your 6x for the circular pattern, and you're just going to delete that dimension. You're also going to use some selection boxes to delete a lot of the blue sketch entities. So just go around selecting and deleting several of these sketch entities, so that in essence all you're left with is this. This is much friendlier to look at. We can move, or rather you should move your dimensions into locations where they're easy to see, easy to read, easy to select and modify. And I think we have that with a sketch that looks like this. So let's accept our sketch. We need to make it visible so that we can do some extruding. First step is we are going to extrude the disc, but I'm going to include the slot and the scallop here. So literally you're just extruding a donut. And I believe that it gets extruded to 5 millimeters. We can then do the extrusion for the hub, which gets extruded in both directions. So 15 millimeters in one direction. And then if we select second end position, we will be extruding 5 millimeters out the back as well. And that's your hub. Now, we're actually going to look at the bottom so that we can actually see the sketch here. And we're going to remove that slot and that scallop, but we're going to do it as an extrude remove. So an extrude, we're going to select remove. You're going to select your geometry. You can see that I've selected both the scallop and the slot, but since it's extruding to the back, I need to click on the arrow so that it's actually extruding, removing through the disc upwards, and we're going to accept that. And there is our remove of the slot and the scallop of the Geneva cam. And what we can now do is I'm going to hide the sketch. So here's our part. And this is the extrude remove right here. And if you've never done this, you can always rename your features. So we can rename this feature, this extrude, and call it the extrude remove. So that was the extrude remove of those, the scallop and the slot. We're going to pattern that feature. So we're going to go to our circular pattern tool, hiding underneath a linear pattern. And instead of doing a part pattern like you did with the spinner, you'll be using a feature pattern. That feature pattern, what feature are we going to pattern? We're going to pattern the extrude remove feature. So you select that, and you can see that it's selected here, the extrude remove feature. The axis, since we don't have a line drawn for the axis, we can select and use the mate selector tool. And that allows us to select the center of one of these circles to make our pattern of. And we need to make sure that that pattern has 6 recursions of that pattern. And if we check, you can see that we have our Geneva cam all done. They don't show it in the video, but I always add a small 2mm fillet to the edge where the hub and the disc meet. And you can kind of see that right there. And we're essentially done. So this is sort of a fast way of doing the circular pattern. But what's really great about this is when I go back to my sketch is very clean, very simple, very easy for me to make very quick updates to change the size of various aspects of my design, and it will automatically update. So I can easily create a variety of 6-lobed Geneva cams very quickly, because I only have a few dimensions that I need to mess around with, and it automatically updates. So 3D circular pattern tool, it's the way to go to keep your sketches clean and fully defined without having to use the fix constraint, and to easily update parts for prototyping. Thank you very much, and have a great day.